Graham Locke, you've been in the industry now for nearly 20 years. You've done some quite interesting jobs. I want to find out a bit more about you, if that's okay. So I'd like you to roll the clock back to your first job. Was it a estate agency?
No, no. In fact, I was a city trader.
Right.
So I worked in the financial markets in London for 10 years, including the likes of Merrill Lynch, so big American businesses.
Yeah.
And then
What year was that?
That was all the way up to from leaving college to 2002.
Okay.
So it was sort of 92, 2002. And I kind of got burnout from working in that environment, because it is a tough environment. It's a very much a sort of young man's game. So I come out of that and then stumbled into estate agency, as many people do.
How?
Just needed to get a job. So I went back home, and the parents were saying to me, you need to go and get yourself a career, and a career Mark II. So I literally walked into an estate agency who happened to be looking for somebody.
So this is 2002, so the market was doing quite well.
Yes, yeah.
What, did you go in as MD or?
I went in as a junior negotiator.
Okay.
And then worked my way up to branch manager.
How long did that take you?
6 months.
Okay, that's not bad.
So I took to it fairly quickly.
So what did you like about it?
I like the people aspect. I like making deals. So I come from a deal-making kind of background in the city, so it's still the same sort of thing, buying and selling. It's just a different commodity.
Okay. So you were branch manager. How old were you at this point?
26.
26. How was things going at this point? Were you enjoying life?
Yeah, life was good. It was a lot of pressure. I'd come from a very nice sort of 6-figure salary into a low 5-figure. So I was starting from the bottom, but I needed to learn the trade. Okay. So life was good. It was a new exciting challenge. Rightmove had just launched as well, which felt like it was a real change in the whole of the estate agency world. What was happening there? So I was riding on that wave, and prices at the time were rising. So it was a very good market.
Had you any idea of where you wanted to take your career at this point?
I've always had the disease of entrepreneurism. Okay. It's always been in me. So I was selling Grolsch bottle tops when I was at school, when Frost came out to the girls. So my dad used to drink Grolsch, and I'd take the caps off, put them on, and then go to school and sell them. So I've always wanted to do something myself. So with agency, it took me a couple of years to get to grips with it and learn it. And I did a cold start as well, which was quite difficult, which was in Chinkford in East London, against all the corporates and the franchise and the big boys.
So you were independent at this time?
Independent, yeah. So the entrepreneurism bug was in me, and I was trying to find a vehicle to house it, and fortunately I did.
So what were your hopes and dreams at this point to be this entrepreneur? What did you want to do? Is it all about the money?
No, it was about having control. It was about having success and having freedom and to make decisions. So I've always trusted my opinion. I've trusted my judgment, and I like to move very, very quickly once I do make a decision. So
okay, so you were still employed at this point. When did you get the flavour of wanting to start your own agency?
It was actually my sort of low point and Eureka Moment were joined up.
Okay.
So I was sitting in my agency, and I had an idea to start a private selling website.
Okay.
So we could cut out the estate agent completely, and we just list the properties on our website and do some promotion.
Were you still living at home at this point?
Still living at home, yes, yeah. And Fish for Homes was around, and Fish for Homes allowed private sales at that point. So there were some websites we could put the properties on. So I started to build the business plan, and in 1 week, it sort of unravelled. I got mugged at knife point in my office, which made me think this isn't the right environment for me to be working in. They took the laptop with the what was the first online estate agency business plan on it, and it was out the door. So that went.
How did that make you feel?
I felt it was another challenge, and I thought, okay, I've got another week to rewrite it. Basically, so I just got my head down and rewrote it, because you used to get a day off in the week for working a Saturday, so I used to use that day off to really go for it with it and try and build this business in my spare time. But the real Eureka moment came one day. I was sitting there and I said to my senior negotiator, if no one walks in this office today, I'm starting this online business, because our footfall was so bad. Rightmove had crushed it. So I was sitting in the office. It was 5 to 6. No one had come in. I thought, thank God, this is the moment I've been waiting for. It's finally going to happen. It's going to make me do it. Mm-hmm. And then the door went. A lady walked in, and I was like, I can't believe. I didn't say it to her, but I was like, I can't believe you've done this to me. You've ruined my life. and it was holding me back a little bit. And she said, "I'm sorry to bother you. I just wondered if you got any water for my dog outside." So I said, "Thank you." You don't know what you've just done, but you just changed my life forever. And I said that was it. That was the moment. I said, that no one comes in anymore, so we don't need the high street branch anymore.
Okay, so this was 2002?
It started in 2002. This was in 2004.
Okay, so you started your own agency. What was it called at this point?
Oh, this was House Network.
This was House Network?
Yes, this is the first online estate agency.
The very first?
The very first. You can ask, Russell and Adam, and they'll both tell you the same thing. They copied me.
Okay, so what was your model at that point then?
Well, the model at that point was actually private sales. So it was actually to go and fish for homes, and a Sale to Home, I think it was at the time.
Oh, these are old names.
They are names, yeah. Where you could list your property privately, and we would just give them a website and charge them £100, and we'd have nothing to do with it. It was just a listing model, really. And that all changed very quickly once we realised the criteria to get onto Rightmove was that you had to be an estate agent. So then we started looking into the definition of what is an estate agent, and it got quite legal. We had some wranglings with Rightmove about can we list on there or can't we? So we was the catalyst really for that change. And legally we were acting as an estate agent, that we was introducing buyers and we was arranging viewings, and so we basically went through the criteria that Rightmove set, because we said, okay, well what do we have to do in your eyes to be an estate agent? They gave us the list and we ticked all the points off. What it meant was if we was taking on a property in Liverpool and I was in Essex, I'd have to drive to Liverpool to do the particulars and value, and then come back down and create the advert. So that's what I did. So
how did House Network go then in the early days then?
It was quite easy.
Because you were at 05, 06, 07, so these were the glory days of the estate agency, where you could just put a property on Rightmove and the blogger would sell.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, so we was in the glory days and we had no challengers because we were the first. So we'd go and sponsor Google, sell my house on Rightmove, and no one would sponsor it. So it might cost pennies. Yeah. You try and get that turned today, and it might cost you 17 or 20 quid. Because of what's happened. But at the time, because we've got first mover, I think that was key. Yeah. So it was actually quite an easy business to get traction because it was new and it was low cost.
How did you get on in the crash of 08, 09?
That was difficult because we had a great year in 2007 when home information packs were there. And a lot of people were trying to get on the market before HIPs came in. So we had a big rush of business then. Then we had, as you say, we had the Northern Rock collapse and then the GFC completely, the wheels fell off. But actually, it worked in our favour because people who were moving wanted to save money, and we were the place you could go to do that. So if you wanted to sell,
what sort of fees were you charging at this time?
At the time, we was charging around. It was a split model, so it was $299 up front and the same again on completion.
Oh, so you're getting some money in, weren't you?
So we're getting the upfront fee, and there was a bit of work for us to do to get the end fee, but it was still possible. And people wanted to save money, so it was a good choice for them as well.
So you're bumbling on quite nicely, 09, 10, 11. Any changes, or just bumbling on quite nicely?
We had some small investment from a company I still can't name for NDA reasons, but we had a small investment in those years, and we started to grow a little bit. So we started to get new offices, invest in better staff and technology, and then bumbled along. But other rivals were starting to nip at us. Then Russell came along with eMove, Adam came along with Hatch. How Simple were born. So there started to be a bit more rivalry in the sector.
Okay, so when Purple Bricks came along and people started raising big monies, what did you do then?
We felt we had to raise as well. Because otherwise Purple Bricks were going to have it all their own way, which subsequently they did. So we went and raised a significant amount of money to try in the millions to try to compete with Purple Bricks. At the same time, eMove were raising money as well, and so were How Simple. So it was a difficult time to raise money as much as it was an easy time, because there was a lot of enthusiasm about, this is the new thing that's going to disrupt estate agency. This is a £6 billion industry. So there was a lot of people ready to invest in it. So it wasn't particularly difficult. What was difficult was finding the right partner to support that business all the way through. And that was the most difficult part.
Okay, so you raised some money in 2015?
Yes.
Good stuff. How did it go from then?
So then we was trying to keep up with the Purple Bricks model, which was do TV adverts and radio and really spend a lot of money on marketing. Subsequently, Purple Bricks just kept raising, and other people kept raising. So that became a very expensive table to play at, very expensive. And so it got to the point where it's probably unsustainable, as we've seen with the likes of eMove over time, that you just can't keep putting in that amount of money. The fortunate part of House Network that we built really well was a really sound organic business. So by then we'd sold 10,000 homes and we'd done them very well. We was 98% recommended by our customers, really good reviews, and we genuinely cared about the cycle of the transaction. So we would survive anyway because we had repeat business coming in. So we had that luxury. SEO was good, all that kind of stuff. I think it got to a point for me where it was either keep up with the Purple Bricks of this world or do something different. And I think once you get investors into a business, the dynamic changes. So it was just me and my business partner, Mark Reddings, at the time. And then our investors came in and there became 4 decision makers, if you like. So that's always a difficult shift in dynamic. From me and Mark were a bit like Ant and Dec. We was always together and we thought as one brain. So having 2 more brains in the business kind of thing was a different structure for me.
As I interviewed Russell Quirk and he said that when it comes to investors, all they want to see is growth, 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 and nothing else matters, growth, growth.
Yeah.
And sometimes in a estate agency, you have to take it a bit slower, don't you?
Yeah, and I think it's certainly in this model where you're re-educating the public, which is never a cheap thing to do, and you're trying to convince them to part with money up front, which is another uncomfortable area for them, or to commit to paying you some money up front at some point. So yeah, it had its challenges, and I think if you look at the model today, and what Purple Bricks have achieved, they've spent tens and tens of millions of pounds to get a, let's say circa 5%, 6%, whatever it is, market share. The question is, how much further can they take that share? Is it ever going to be 15, 20%, which is a lot of commentators thought when online first came out, this could be 25% of the market in a couple of years.
It's like a brand bucket. You just pick any number, 30, 40%.
Yeah, and that was scary for the likes of Countrywide. And I think even, Countrywide got panicked so much by it, they threw a model into their business that was like throwing a bomb in it, and it went off.
Yeah.
So it was forcing the corporates to get involved, and Connells bought Hatched, and Savills and LSL and Eureka got together. So even the corporates thought we need to have an insurance policy against this going to 30% because they were scared that it might.
Yes.
But in hindsight, the world of agency and the general public have kind of held stuck together somehow through all of that. And today, there's still 90-odd% of the market is done between the public and traditional agencies.
So you decided to take your career on to the next stage, and you went to be managing director of Martin Camp.
Yes, yeah. So I met up with Ian Wilson, a jolly nice chat with him, and jumped through sort of several hoops of the processes to get the job, which wasn't easy, and psychometric testing and board presentations and all the rest of it, which for me as an entrepreneur, I found fairly sort of okay to do. And yeah, I was delighted to get that job because it meant that I could use my experience to help steer 100 franchises. And it's 4 different brands. So it was Ellis & Co., CJ Hole, Whitegates and Parkers. So I had 4 brands, and I thought I could really make a difference, actually. This isn't just a job that I can just go through the motions. I want to be here and make a difference. And I think Ian felt the same thing, that he'd recently acquired the hybrid version called UMove.
Yes. We had Nick on the sofa here a few weeks ago.
Yeah, again, really good operator, Nick. Nice, really lovely fella. So they were in that world. I think Ian felt that his traditional brands could do with something or someone like that understood that digital world to help them push it to the next level.
So why aren't you still there now? And what's the plans now?
So the disease of entrepreneurism is hard to shift. So I'd worked for myself for 10 years, and it was very difficult then to work with investors. I found that difficult enough, even though I was still entrepreneurism. Working for a PLC was something altogether different because obviously Property Franchise Group were a listed business. Working for Ian Wilson was absolutely fine. He's a very good operator, very good CEO, extremely bright man. And we got on very, very well. But the role of being part of a public organisation where the pace in which they make decisions is sometimes not as quick as I would if it was my own business. and I was just used to making my own decisions very quickly.
Yes.
So I think for me it was just a culture thing. There's nothing wrong with that. They're a great business.
Great business.
Great operators, brilliant franchisees, great brands as well. Those brands have been around, they stood the test of time, and they'll continue to do that. And I like the direction that they were going, and they are going under Ian Wilson. I think it's quite exciting for them, the future. So,
yes.
yeah, I wish them all the best. But for me, it wasn't quite the right fit. I did stay on and consult for
yes.
the Property Franchise Group, and still have friends there. So it was an amicable exit.
For the last 6 months, you've been doing office videos. If you don't mind me saying, I think they're very funny. And you've been doing carpool chats, and even the famous Lockbusters. But surely that's not what your film career is. Not where you want to take your business. What's the future for Graham Lock?
No, the videos and all the social media.
If you don't mind me saying, as a practitioner,
yeah,
I think they're exceptional.
Thank you.
They really, really are.
They're not easy, as you know.
No,
but I wanted to just sample that world and bring out some of the characters in the agency, because they're there. You just have to scratch under the surface to get to them, and when you get to them, it's fun. And
David Brent was amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun to do David Brent, and really, what I got to speak to lots of estate agents during that time who would contact me and say, I really like the videos, what you're up to, and we just get into conversation, and it soon became apparent that the agents I was speaking to, the independents, were very lonely. That was the word that kept coming up. Graham, I get lonely, and I thought the first one was a bit strange, but then a few of them started saying it. And I was like, well, I get that. And then we started talking about the prop tech space, because I'm from technology-minded sort of background of agency. And all of a sudden, I started to feel like the independents were missing out on some support. They'd say to me, I can't join the likes of the Guild because my member in my town is already there, so I'm blocked. Okay, so you need support, you need a bit of leadership, a bit of guidance, a bit of networking,
yes,
and you need to know what products you need to make your business move. Yes. So the more yeses I got from those conversations, I started to form a new idea, which now turns out to be the Federation of Independent Agents.
Go on. What's that about then?
So the hero statement would read something along the lines of a network of independent estate agents who benefit from corporate grade commercial deals and franchise level support to gain a competitive advantage over your local peers.
So it's like a club of estate agents where you get make rates deals and you get great support.
Yes, you get great support. And what I found is reviewing the suppliers market has been 7 months in the making. That's been a lot of hard work to get to a bucket of, I think it's going to be around 20 suppliers in different sectors of agency. Could be recruitment, training, prop tech, whatever it might be, social media. And I'm finding the very best delivery partners in each of those sectors and negotiating corporate rates with them based on the membership numbers that I'm projecting for the federation, which would be around 800 to 1,000 members. So we're getting incredibly good deals from these people, and it's saving the agents time researching that market.
Yeah, but you're getting kickbacks off those, aren't you?
No kickback. So every deal we agree, the full discount rate goes into the member.
Okay.
So that the member doesn't have to pay full value. So if you think an independent agent sitting there right now thinking, what can I do to get a competitive advantage? Can I sift through all these suppliers and find the right ones? And when I've finally done that, can I get the right deal?
Okay. In another video, I'd like to go a little bit deeper into the federation. But where do you see this federation going in the future? Very briefly, but we'll go into a lot more depth in other videos. So
yeah. So the idea of the federation is to get it to a membership number, which would equal around 1,000 members.
Okay.
There's room for one independent agent per town.
Okay. And in a sentence, what do you hope that an independent agent will get from being a member of this club?
The whole point of being a member of the FIA is to give back not just the sum of money they're putting in every month to be a member. We want to make a return on that tenfold. So that will be all the products we can supply them with, all the knowledge and all of our contacts, all of our leadership skills that we'll have in the business, and the networking side of it to ensure that any products they do take, they're actually getting best practice and learning the nuances within that product from other members.
In the next video, can we talk about that in greater detail?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.